In this video, you're going to witness an interview with a very special individual in the world of chess. His name is Shikhar Saxena. He's someone who loves chess and was crazy enough to have chess at his wedding, a chess tournament, and he raised funds through that for HelpChess. He's been an advisor of tech to both Amruta and me and ChessBase India. And thanks to his efforts, we've been able to build HelpChess that has helped many chess players. He's also been guiding us with Chessanga, the latest chess course website that we've launched. But more than that, he's always thinking about how to help people. And he's good friends with many top Indian chess players, including world champion Gukesh Vidit, Gujrathi, and others. And in this interview, you get to know more about Shikhar, the person, his personality, and many more things. So check out the interview. Hello, hi Shikhar bhai.
Hello.
So Shikhar bhai, I'm very glad that we are doing this interview, and I would love for people to know more about you. But first question is, how did you find chess in your life?
Oh, how did I find chess? So I have vague memories of playing chess when I was small, of course. My dad had this wooden chessboard and we would sometimes, play on it. But I think it got revived in the pandemic, like a lot of people. I would follow all the summer streams, and then he started streaming with you guys, ChessBase India. That's how I came across ChessBase India. I would follow a lot of these streams where you would teach chess to comedians and do all of these, fun formats. So yeah, I think that was like a big sort of revival. And since then I think I've been kind of hooked to both following and playing the game.
And what is very incredible in your life story is that you had chess in your wedding.
Yeah.
That is like truly, no one can think of it. Like for example, me and Amruta, we had chess in our wedding, but we are like chess lovers since a young age.
Yeah.
But how did you decide to have a chess in your wedding?
Yeah, I think right before the wedding, the last, probably 2 years before the wedding, etc., I was quite deep into chess. And thanks to you, I was very lucky to be part of, seeing HelpChess unfold and all of those things. So I think it was a pretty last moment sort of decision where we wanted to do something fun in the wedding outside of all the, rituals and everything that happens. And because probably I was in this chess mode and we had a bunch of friends who were following chess as well, we were like, why not do this? And of course, you were very kind in helping us get these signed chessboards from Vidit, which every participant got, and it was, so many of them were so happy to, get that. And the winner of that tournament got a signed T-shirt from Vishwanathan Anand, which was also thanks to you for, making that happen. And it's such a lifetime memory for, the person who got it. So, but yeah, it was an amazing experience.
And you actually, whatever amount was raised in that wedding, went to HelpChess.
Yeah.
That is amazing, like you contributed it, like in your wedding as well. You thought about contributing it to a good cause.
Yeah.
So how did that thought come?
Yeah, no, I think, most Indians, I guess, spend a lot, on the wedding. So as a fraction of it, the amount that we are contributing, I guess, is a small one. But yeah, I think HelpChess is one of the organizations which I've seen very closely. I've seen how cautiously you spend, every single rupee that, comes in. And so I had a lot of confidence, of course, that, whatever amount we are contributing to HelpChess would go to the right person, the right chess player who'd probably benefit from it. So yeah, I think I'm very lucky to, just know that HelpChess exists and you guys run it in such a nice, transparent fashion. That makes it much easier to take some of these decisions.
And when you go to the ChessBase India website, you feature in our list of advisors
and I'm very proud to say that you are one of our tech advisors. Like, you've helped us immensely for tech, because me and Amruta, we don't come from a tech background. So at some point we were lost in this journey, and you helped us a lot. Like, you basically showed us the way. You showed like, oh, this is how you can build stuff. This is how someone, for example, HelpChess as a project, you and your friend Siddharth, you came together and actually built the website and gave us the idea that we could have a widget, and then raise funds during the live stream. Then this big believer Simul was also one of your ideas, where you said, people who contribute above 50,000 can, there should be a separate stream where a top player plays with them. So what is it that made you help? For example, you had to put in a lot of your time, effort, energy. Where does this thought come from that, oh, I can actually do something for this? And at that point you didn't even know us so closely, like we had just met each other online.
Yeah. No, I think first of all, you're being super generous. I guess like bulk of the hard work of making all of these things happen, and I think it's done by you and Amruta, of course. I think like when I remember when I came across ChessBase India in one of the first few streams, one thing I think which becomes super clear very early on is how passionate you both are in terms of putting your blood and sweat out there and helping chess players and popularizing chess. And you also run the company in a very different way, compared to most companies. So I think for me, perhaps whenever I come across people who are really, really passionate about what they do, it's very, very exciting, because I think very rarely you come across people like that. So if there's anything I can do to help them, of course, like it's a blessing for me. But yeah, I think it was super clear in our first couple of interactions itself on how passionate you were, etc. So a small idea coming from me, you would take it and you would turn it into something really, really big, which was very nice to see.
Well, yeah, it's amazing. And now HelpChess has grown into something which is raising like crores of rupees for Indian chess players. So thank you so much for that. And also, we've launched Chessanga recently, and you've played a role there as well in making it happen. What is your feeling about Chessanga website?
Yeah, I don't know how big a role I've played. I mean, kudos to others, Harsh, all of the team members who have sort of worked on it. But yeah, I remember Chessanga was like one of those projects which has been there, I know, at the back of your mind since such a long time, and you wanted to sort of make it happen. And I know it's been a long journey, probably to get it out there in the fashion that you wanted. But yeah, I'm very excited to see it go live. I was one of the first few buyers, I think, of the course as well. One of the first few customers. I watched the video, found it very. I remember I got the first move right, and then you were screaming that, oh, correct move, and this is the next question. So I think the experience that you've created with Chessanga is very, very unique. I believe a lot. I think I told you that I really like the format in which you're teaching chess via Chessanga compared to some of the other formats that exist. So yeah, I mean, more than anything, I am looking forward to watching a lot of Chessanga videos myself to sort of get better at the game. And yeah, I'm very happy about how it has come out.
Okay, well, everything is just, you are always giving credit to other people, never taking any credit, because
as they rightly deserve.
I want to go through your life a bit, because it's a very interesting one. You are what right now, 32, 31?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, 31.
31 years old, and you've already done quite a few things. You are from IIT Guwahati. So firstly, was getting into IIT always the plan in your life?
Oh no, I of course got to know of IIT probably when I was in 10th standard or maybe 9th at best. But yeah, before that I was just like, I think my mom, like she's a maths and science teacher, so She made sure my fundamentals for some of these subjects were strong. So I started doing well in school, started scoring good marks. When you score good marks in India, generally someone finds you and tells you that you should give IIT. I don't remember fully who that person was, but I think I was lucky that someone told me about it.
Oh, you would thank that person. So basically, you are happy that you.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of positive things that happened because of IIT. So for sure, I mean, it was one of the things which opened up the world for me, because I've spent almost all my life in Lucknow before IIT. So yeah, IIT was the only way I knew of getting out of Lucknow and seeing what else is there in the world. But yeah, I think it was probably somewhere in 9th or 10th when someone told me about it, and then there's generally a coaching that people do in their 11th or 12th, standard, which I did as well. And post that I was just lucky to get in that IIT exam.
And which branch did you do your engineering?
Oh, that's when you crack IIT, you basically have to submit your preferences, which is like a long list of preferences, and whatever based on your rank, you get the best possible option. I got chemical in IIT Guwahati. I know barely anything about the branch that I chose, but I remember someone had told at that time, they just pick a combination of a decent branch plus a decent college, one of the older IITs and stuff like that. So IIT Guwahati was a little higher up compared to some of the other IITs, and IIT Guwahati Chemical is what I ended up going with.
And a very nice thing about your IIT journey is that you met your future wife there as well.
Yeah, that is
Charmie.
I think that's probably one of the biggest advantages from that 4-year journey. Although I met her like much later, probably like end of third year-ish type in my college journey. She's of course an year younger, but was lucky to meet her.
And what was it like when you met her? You knew that this is the person, yeah?
No, not at all. I think we met because someone connected us, someone introduced us. I was looking for a designer for one of the projects that I was working on, and she was excited to come on board. We worked on that project, but I think it was much later when we started talking, outside of work, anything. And it was a much longer journey than that. But a very fun one, of course.
Yeah, and Charmie herself is now a very well-known designer, and so it's amazing. But when in college, you already had started going on this entrepreneurial journey. You had already started your first endeavor.
Yeah, so I remember it was first year of college when so IITs have a lot of these societies. Like there'll be a dance society, a drama society, and all of these societies. And I remember EDC was the name of, if I'm not wrong, EDC, which is Entrepreneurship Development Cell, was the name of that society in our college. And I remember first year was the first time when I heard the term entrepreneurship. I never knew that there's a term called entrepreneurship, and then after IIT you could start a business. I had zero clue that this is something that people do. First year is when I'd first heard of the term, and then I think I just organically started building websites and apps because I really liked doing it. And at that time there were all of these tech startups, coming up in India, which were like the likes of Flipkart, for example, or Myntra, Amazon, all of these. So it was a very exciting time to sort of get into tech. I think organically got pulled into startups. In my second year, I did an internship at a very small startup, 5 people who were building something. And when I did that internship, I was very clear that this is like so much more exciting than to me than working somewhere else or working in a bigger company. And it was probably like second year when I got pulled into it.
And what is it about this sort of startup culture that you like so much?
I think what I loved about it then and what I love about it even today is how much sort of freedom it gives you to just literally pick any problem that you want and try to take a stab at solving it. Because when we are living our everyday lives, we just keep coming across things which can be better, things which can be improvements, and all of it. And especially if you're solving it with tech, you have the luxury of solving that problem for a very large group of people, not just people around you, but people maybe from another side of the world who will discover your product and start using it, etc. So yeah, to me, just that joy of creating something from nothing and solving a problem for pretty much anybody in any part of the world was very, very exciting.
And that led you to actually join a startup, which was very small when you joined, but now has become $1 billion company, Meesho.
Yeah.
And you were maybe one of the first few employees of the company?
Yeah, I think I joined them. I joined Meesho in early 2018, which was roughly, I think, 1.5-ish years since the company had, started. As one of the first few sort of product managers, one of the first few people to join in the tech product team, basically. And yeah, like Meesho has been one of the most rewarding, one of the most exciting sort of things that I've done in my life. I spent like almost 5 years at the company, got a ringside view of how the company grew from, a very small order volume to what it is now, which is like the most number of e-commerce orders, or e-commerce users in a day, in a month, all of it. So yeah, that was a crazy journey for sure.
And what is it that you think is the reason behind the success of Meesho?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things I learned from Meesho was when Meesho started, by the way, Flipkart and Amazon already existed. So when I had joined, if statistically someone would look at Meesho, they would ask the question that, oh, if Flipkart, Amazon already exist, like why is there a room for another e-commerce player? And this was this time when Snapdeal, etc. had already started to go down. So there was not a lot of confidence around another e-commerce player existing. One of my biggest learnings from Meesho was just how bottoms up the entire team was, especially the founders. They had seen a very clear gap in the market, which was that a lot of these small brands or non-branded players, which is bulk of India's economy, they were cut off from the entire e-commerce story. E-commerce was a lot about brands, big brands, smartphones, a lot of it. But if you look at Meesho's top categories, till date, these would be categories like saris, suits, kurtis, which are, largely sort of created by small businesses and, in different parts of the country, tier 2, tier 3, and, many such places. So Meesho saw an opportunity there, that those people were sort of cut off from the entire online commerce story. And there has to be some way where it's such a big part of the offline economy. So why is it not at all there, in the online economy? And I think Meesho has gone through so many sort of, pivots, as you might call it, or so many different approaches of trying to solve the same problem. That I think Meesho's just user-centric approach, being very bottoms up, being very first principles in nature, believing in a problem so deeply that you try every possible solution to sort of crack it against all odds. I think that would be probably my biggest takeaway. I think the team is one of the most resilient teams that I can ever think of working with, and they had all the right ingredients in terms of actually having the first principles approach, being very disciplined with their execution, being able to attract talent, retain talent, and I can just keep going on, but a lot of great memories from Meesho.
And what's the reason why they had this so much of all these qualities? Was it because of the founders who were really, really good?
Yeah, I would like to think so. I think a lot of the company is driven by things that the founders value. Both Vidit and Sanjeev, who are the founders of Meesho, are two of the nicest yet ambitious people that I've had a chance to work with. Both of them are sort of just like you love working with them, but they also like push you to do things that you probably would not imagine yourself doing. So yeah, both of them I think exhibit qualities which have then sort of carried on to the company.
And then when Meesho became so popular and so well known, you suddenly took a very bold step saying that, okay, I'm going to now leave the company and I'm going to start my own startup. Yeah. How did you decide on that?
Yeah, so I think I always had like a bug to sort of do something of my own, because that's that's the joy of startups. You can just pick a new problem and start solving it from scratch once again. So I always wanted to do something. I took a stab at doing a startup back in college, which did not work out. And I often tell people, if not for Meesho, I would have probably sort of taken this decision, much sooner. Meesho was just such an incredible journey that it was impossible to leave it sort of midway. But yeah, when I think Meesho sort of became big enough, stable enough, I think I felt it was the right time for me to sort of take that call. But yeah, it was one of those things which was always there, back of the mind. It was just a question of when, more than if.
And I remember the time when you left Meesho and you were trying to start your startup. You were on this journey of trying to identify what problem to solve. So you would meet people, you would ask them about like what are the issues they are facing, and I think broadly you wanted to solve the problem of emails, of like basically communication between people, and that's how Super DM came into being, which is now converted into binary.
Yeah.
Can you tell the viewers what exactly is the problem you are solving right now?
Sure. I think, when I was at Meesho, I figured out that after a point in time, when Meesho became sort of a bit well known, we were bombarded with a lot of these, incoming requests from people who wanted to work at Meesho or who wanted to just know more about Meesho or something like that. And that's when I figured out, that existing platforms, for example, LinkedIn, email, a lot of them are just starting to become more and more spammy, with every passing year. And especially, in this age of AI, I think that has probably, gone a bit too far, where now there are so many tools, for people who are, if X person is reaching out to Y person, there are just so many ways to, spam from, one end. And because of that, I think the problem that we felt was that the companies or the people who are on the other end, who are receiving all of these emails or job applications, etc., they feel very overwhelmed, very bombarded with whatever that is happening. And we just wanted to build like a set of tools for people to be able to manage that, because we think that is what is needed to sort of maintain balance, in the world. Because if one side keeps spamming, then you land up with SMS, which you sort of stop looking at after a point. So yeah, we started with Super DM, which was a lot more horizontal, creator focused, etc. Then we saw a lot of a lot of people wanting Super DM access for recruiting and hiring, because in hiring people get like a ton of job applications every day, and that's when we decided to build a dedicated product for hiring, which is now called Binary. But yeah, at the core, the problem we try to solve is build these tools, for companies and individuals to manage inbound better, so that they can just connect with newer people in a better way, in a faster way. They don't have to ignore their inboxes and stuff like that.
One of the things that I constantly keep seeing in your journey, and even when you've helped us with our tech products, is how you look at a problem and then you break it down to find the solution of it.
Yeah.
Where did this attitude come in you? Because it's like, give you any problem, your mind first goes into sort of dissecting it and very quickly go into the solution part of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing that the IIT-JEE prep has a lot to do with it, where you just learn to sort of problem solve better. Yeah, there might be, I think, many factors which would have led to that trait, but maybe IIT-JEE prep would probably be the top one. Yeah.
There are a few other things about you which I want to talk about, but before that, you were also very good friends with some of the chess players, and very top chess players, one of them being the world champion Gukesh. How did that happen? How did you get in touch with him? And we saw that you were also on the final day of the world championship. You were in Singapore, you and Charmie, both of you. In fact, there's a vlog on ChessBase India of your entire day there. And then basically Gukesh has become very good friends with you. So what happened, and what is it about Gukesh that you like so much?
Oh, so I mean, how we became friends, I think you know it better than anyone else. You should get all the credit for introducing us. I still remember, I think there was a event in Bangalore which you were hosting or organizing, where I think he had come, and that's when I think you had introduced us. And that was, I think, pre-World Championship, but maybe right after the candidates, if I'm not wrong. Uh, and I remember you introducing us, and then very quickly, I think we started talking about sports and tennis. And at that time, he was playing tennis, and we were playing tennis. And next day, he came to sort of play sort of tennis with us, and that's how I think slowly we sort of got to know each other, a bit more. And of course, we like World Championship was like a super amazing experience where I think we all got to spend more time with each other, with Gukesh, everyone. I mean, what I like about Gukesh is would be a very very long list, but I mean for now I think just how disciplined he is, with trusting the process, not getting distracted. He has maturity which is way beyond his age, which all of us can see. So all of and also like just being super humble at the same time, for his age. So I mean a long list of great qualities to learn from.
And there's one more sports personality who's your favorite. That's Mahendra Singh Dhoni. And I think you are one of his biggest fans. You've learnt a lot from him. So firstly, what is it about Dhoni that you connect to so much? And do you by any chance see any parallels between Gukesh and Dhoni?
Wow. I mean, what attracts me about Dhoni is there's again a very, very long list. But I remember he was one of these people who just I randomly started following, while growing up. And I think his journey has been just very interesting. Where I think I remember in his initial years he would get a lot of criticism for some of the unorthodox decisions that he would take. Like coming down the order, for example, coming to bat at number 7, or sometimes picking younger players, or some of these other decisions. And I think what made me really made me more interested about him was how he would handle all of this criticism, with a lot of calm, with not really sort of reacting to some of these allegations, and not blaming other people, taking full ownership, in the face of defeat. And in wins, he was nowhere to be seen, very very so yeah, just I think his again humility, the way he manages his calm, and the way he tackles the expectations of a billion people who are all have something to say about his decisions. Was very very inspiring to me. I mean, you already know I'm not too much into books, so a lot of my decisions have sort of come from, okay, what would Dhoni do? That's always been great. I think comparison between Dhoni and Gukesh, I never thought about that, but I think there's so many common great qualities, right? Like humility being the first one that I can think of, calmness being probably the second one I can think of. Not to mention both of them have a nice Chennai connect. Yeah, I mean, lot of great qualities which are common, I think.
Maybe someday you will go to watch an IPL match with Gukesh to see Dhoni.
Let's see if that happens.
And when you take some entrepreneurial decisions in your journey, do you often remember Dhoni, and have some of his decisions or his traits helped you in your, let's say, building binary or so on?
Yeah, I think a lot of things that I have sort of picked from him, or tried to pick from him, are applicable in all sort of decisions, be it life decisions or business decisions. So, I mean, just staying calm is, for example, one of those things, which probably helps, everywhere. And handling criticism, staying grounded, and being a bit unorthodox, taking calculated risks, trusting in the process. I can sort of go on and on, but like a lot of the things that he talks about, I feel are very, very fundamental and very applicable to all areas of life, not just business. So yeah, I mean, I try my best to keep those principles in mind whenever I'm taking decisions.
And one of the top chess players who has been at your home, lived with you, is Vidit Gujrathi.
Yeah.
And he's right now in this phase where he's kind of reduced playing chess a bit, and he's into AI and tech and so on. So when he lived with you here, when he stayed with you, what was it about Vidit that you enjoyed? What is it you think that makes him special?
Oh, so many things. The first one that comes to mind, I think, is just how self-aware he probably is. He knows very like just being able to take some of these bold decisions. Where even though he's at such a high level in chess, just putting in the effort to explore more about his curiosity around tech, etc. In his shoes, I think it's a quite bold decision. For us, it's probably entertaining or stuff like that. But I know how much courage it would probably take for him to be able to do that, and that to publicly. If you open his Twitter these days, it's all about tech, right? So just so incredibly curious, so non-apologetic about chasing his curiosity are, I think, some of the first few traits that come to mind when I think of Vidit.
Amazing. And I have your website that you've created. It's called Shikhar Saxena. I'll put the link in the description. I was going through it, and there are some very interesting things that you've spoken about. And I want
Who told you about the website?
I just searched on Google Shikhar Saxena, and the first thing came up was this.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, what you've written, maybe if you can elaborate on those points quickly, because there are some very interesting points you've written in under the section, some things I believe in.
Yeah.
So the first point you've written is, most of our success depends on luck.
Yeah.
For a person who's working so hard, who's trying to solve problems, how does this point make sense?
Yeah, I think it's one of those points which I think we have discussed at length many times. It's probably one of those things which one call out that I should make is that most of the things I believe in keep changing every 2 or 3 years. So I don't want to be very, very sort of strong about it. But yeah, I just feel a lot of if I'm working hard or if I cracked IIT or anything like that, a lot of it has to do with some of the privileges that I carry with myself. Those privileges could be like being born in a particular city, or having access to probably the right education to sort of get where I wanted. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think people are a function of their upbringing, their environment. A lot of that is outside of their control, and hence we can probably sort of call it luck. But yeah, that's the first point.
Okay. Second is, tying our happiness to a goal is a bad idea.
Yeah, I think it is one of those Dhoni principles again, where you just enjoy the process, believe in it, forget about the goal. You're like as happy in wins as you're in losses, and you're just trying to sort of get better, without thinking of the goal. I think it's one of those things which is really hard to do, but probably like a good approach to sort of live life.
You do it, yeah?
Yeah, I try my best.
Doing it. It's amazing. Third is, enjoying the process is a good idea.
Yeah.
I guess it fits into the second one. Now comes an interesting part. Complaining about anything is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Why do you say it?
Yeah, I think, complaining about things probably is not super, helpful. I feel mainly because I think if you're going through any situation, there is always something that you can, do about it. Like at worst, you can, change your own thought process and not feel bad about, what you're going through. So in some way, I think complaining sometimes makes us forget that we can actually do something to, take care of the situation, etc. And if you stop complaining, there are so many different ideas we can come up with on what we can do. It could be perhaps taking an action. It could be building empathy for the other person that we are frustrated with. It could be changing our own mindset. It could be telling ourselves that this situation is outside of our control, just like many other situations, and so we should probably not worry about it. But yeah, I think it's a good starting point to exploring many other sort of solutions that could improve the quality of your life.
Amazing. And then comes this: people who love their craft generally work on weekends.
Yeah.
It's a very kind of bold statement because you yourself are not just a founder and now the owner of a company, but you are also an employee.
Yeah.
So do you think it stands true for both?
Yeah, I think it's I mean, most of the things that I believe in, I would have tried to sort of stay true to them when I was an employee or if I'm a founder. I think this is one of those probably slightly controversial, points, but yeah, I think all the people that at least I've come across who really, love their craft, I think it's very hard for them to, segregate their work into, weekdays or weekends. There might be a weekday where they do not work, and there might be a weekend where they work a lot. I think you are like a living example of someone who just doesn't stop working. But yeah, I think it's more it's less about looking down on someone who doesn't work on weekend. It's more about that if you're lucky and if you're finally able to find something that you're really excited about, it's tough to stop yourself from doing it more. Like that's, I think, the core sort of principle about it. And just, I think, trying to find something that which you feel that excited about is partly luck, but there's a lot, I think, that you can do to sort of find it as well. So yeah, that's that.
Mm-hmm. The next point is falling in love with boring work can be life changing.
Yeah.
How do you explain that, and what does boring work mean?
Yeah, I think boring is probably anything that doesn't give instant gratification, probably. I mean, from a work standpoint, I'm sure you've experienced this as well. When you're running a company, there are many tasks which are probably important but might not be exciting to you, at least in that moment. But if you do them, you know that you're taking a step in the right direction, and probably the fruits of that are going to come a little later. And likewise, I think the same is true for not just for work, but even in our lives. For example, eating right, or going to the gym. Some of these things are things which don't really have instant gratification, and because of that, they might really feel boring in that moment. But if you keep consistently doing these boring things, there does come a lot of long-term gratification with being able to do it. And I think most goals in life are like that, where the boring stuff, I think, really stops us from making long-term progress. And if we embrace the boring stuff, I feel our odds of going on the right path increase dramatically.
Wow, well said. And then the next point is, it's 2 points. Relationships bring meaning to our lives, and relationships are about giving. So are you talking about your relationship with, let's say, your better half, or just in general?
Wow, I think I should be careful about what I put out on the website. But no, I think it's true for all relationships. If there were no other people in the world, I guess life would be like really hard and really boring. So it does help, I think, to have other people around. And yeah, I think relationships with those people, I think, are a lot. I think you talk about true love and all of these things so much. I do sort of believe and agree that a lot of the quality of a lot of those relationships depends on how much we give, and just completely forgetting about what we receive, being very sort of non-transactional about things. And so yeah, that's at least to me, like, those are the things which have helped in building the strongest relationship. So yeah, I like that worldview a lot.
And your strongest relationship is, of course, with Charmie, your better half.
Yeah.
What is it that you have learned from her, or just being around her now, I think, for maybe more than 10 years?
Oh, I think if you ask her, I'm probably like in the very early learning phase of everything that I can learn from her. But so many things, everyone who knows both of us knows how much more amazing she is than me. So there's a long list of things that I can learn from her. But yeah, one of the the first few things that come to mind are things like how disciplined she is. How much I think she has this like constant learning sort of attitude towards anything that she can pick up. She also is incredible with people. So she's taught me a lot more empathy. Taught me a lot more about how to sort of deal with people or look at relationships. So all of that are just things that would otherwise have probably not happened or happened much later in my life. So very, very grateful for all of that.
And lastly, you've written there's probably no good reason to hate anyone.
Yeah, this one is a much deeper point, but I think whoever we hate, if you put ourselves in their shoes, they have probably gone through some life experiences or some lack of privileges probably, or anything that you might want to call it, because of which they are the way they are. And if maybe you were born in their shoes, or you would have gone through the exact same life experiences as them, chances are high that you would be them as well. So yeah, I think it helps probably to think of people that way, where they're just a function of what life has thrown at them, and we would be the same as them if life threw that at us. So yeah, that's the thinking behind that.
Amazing. Well, Shikhar bhai, it was amazing going through these points. You also mentioned about fitness in your website, and I think that's one thing you are very passionate about, to be fit, to work out. Also, you take care a lot of things about your food intake. You yourself have been teaching me so much about proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and so on. So if there's one sort of advice you want to give to people about nutrition and fitness, what would it be?
Yeah, I think I'm myself so new at it that I don't feel very qualified to give like any advice. But yeah, I think I learned much later in my journey on how much things like sleep and food and other things can impact our day to day, our energy levels, on how we do everything. And of course, like post probably 30 is when your body also needs a bit more care. So just knowing what your body needs, doing some basic education around what's the good food to eat, and what's a good workout routine or a sleep routine. I think all of those things are good long-term investments that anyone can make in themselves. There are of course 100 different ways to work out, 100 different ways to look at food. All of that information is, I think, already out there in the internet. But yeah, I think prioritizing that is really, really helpful for most people who go down that journey are really happy that they have went down that journey. So definitely something that everyone should try.
And protein is very important.
Yeah, most of us, I think in India at least, are not having enough protein. So it's all of us are probably realizing that we should have a bit more.
Amazing. Well, Shikhar bhai, thank you so much for this, spending time with me on this interview. And I'm so grateful that you actually, wrote that email one fine day in 2021, because of which we met. And I think in my journey, in my life, you've been someone who has taught me so many things. There are not so many people. And I think chess is very lucky that you have kind of come in there, and I hope that you will stay in the chess ecosystem for years to come.
No, I'm here to stay. I'm sure, like both me and Charmie, I think we've received like 100 times more, I think, of what we've given from you, from Amruta, from all the nice folks in the chess community. I think outside the chess community, I tell everyone on how nice of a community it is. Like how incredibly humble. Almost every player that at least I've come across, like super nice, super humble, easy to chat with, and a lot of them had good intentions on just helping younger people get into chess and do all of these nice things. So we are just incredibly lucky to be able to see this world from so close, even after being from a very, very different world. And I think you've been like the sort of mediator to help us, see that world. So we are very, very thankful to both you and Amruta.
And I hope that you don't beat me so many times in a chess game.
Yeah, I think last time we played with some odds, you had like a bad score. I'm hoping you'll.
You had to put that in, yes.
Yeah, and Amruta beat me quite a bit, but you couldn't. So I'm hoping you'll take some lessons from her and try to get better.
Yeah, it's time for us to end this interview now. But thank you, Shikhar bhai, once again for this amazing time that we have had in the interview.
Thank you so much, Sagar.